Monday Night Football, baby. We're here.
There's only one other good play on Minnesota.
Touchdown in 46 seconds. Punches back. Touchdown.
Run Pure Sports back with a UFC London EVLOEV versus Murphy on the first day, true day of March Madness. A little weird scheduling wise, but hey, we're here to break down some UFC fights. What's better than that? And there's a great offering at the moment. 14 fights last week, 14 fights. We want more fights. The more fights, the more opportunity, the more ways to bet, the more ways to pick six, the more ways to build winning lineups. I feel like it's been a wild, beginning of the year. Lots of dogs winning in the main event. This particular card, JSU, man, we've got some A-sides, but I smell there's going to be some shitting in the apple pie or like underdogs springing big upsets. I smell it. It's going to happen to one of these, minus 250s or higher. And I don't know which one it is yet. You want to lead me to the promised land, man?
Well, I'll try my best here. I think I led people last week. I definitely led people into Mr. Kutalaba's lap for a underdog last week. I told you guys, never trust the French. And that side was the biggest. I thought he was the biggest fraud in the minus 250, minus 200, whatever it was range. And I said it. I said the only guy that worries me more than Petrino at this big of a favorite was Omar Sy. And I said that fight, you can only go dog. It's dog, whether it's betting, DFS, that's the only play. And it looked really good. Wish I bet him by sub. I did not bet him by sub, but I did bet him to win, and I did bet the unders and everything like that. So I felt pretty good about that. But man, I did not see the submission, Mike. I did not see that submit. I wish I did.
Oh my God, it's nice to see the Hulk back in the winning column, and that's one of those guys that when you face a generalist and you're kind of just the offensive-minded guy that Ian Kutalaba is, those guys can really kind of roll against a generalist. And again, this card, there's some generalists. I can name probably 4 or 5 generalists on this card that I think maybe 1 or 2 win. But again, they're going against hot prospects. Like there's a theme here in the UFC. You've got an A side, perhaps an A+ side, Kevin Vallejos. What did we say? Probably going to be difficult to pay off his salary. What do we know could happen? He could go berserker. He could destroy. He could go out in the first round. Sometimes these guys tend to play a little bit competitive as they move up the rankings, right? Things get a little bit closer. They nip out a decision or something like that. But man, did he make an exclamation mark. Are we sitting on some triple-digit future tickets that are more live than ever before? And guess what? Somebody got to him because he had been calling out Yair. Yair gets him right there. I got to be honest. Yair's a really good call-out. But the Gene Silva, unbooked, it's right there. Number 1 contender. The UFC loves Gene Silva. The rematch is sitting there. We have a live ticket, buddy.
We do. We have a live ticket. I will say I wasn't as high on Kevin Vallejos for DFS purposes. I thought Josh Emmett was going to be able to stall the smoke a little bit. And he did not. So I was definitely not right on the DFS side because Kevin Vallejos was obviously in the winner, I'm pretty sure, and he absolutely smashed. But my God, doing that to Josh Emmett, I know Josh Emmett's old. I know he's got a ton of wear and tear, but Josh Emmett's been in there with some really good fighters, and Kevin Vallejos just ran through Josh Emmett. That was super impressive to me, and I know to you. And yeah, we gave out on that show that we did Talking Futures a while back at the beginning of the year, right, Mike? At the beginning of the year,
first couple of weeks.
Kevin Vallejos, he was 150 to 1, I think, on that show on DraftKings Sportsbook, but somewhere around there, maybe 200, 150,
It was
somewhere in that range. And we said bet him right now. We both bet him, and that bet is now dropped to what, 20 to 1 on
Less
DraftKings?
than. Last time I had checked, and I haven't checked since his win, which is wild, but that's just me. I know it's in the bank, right?
Yeah.
It was last I checked 18 to 1, 20 to 1.
Okay.
So who knows? It's got to have dropped, right? With that win, he's firmly a top 5 guy, I guess. And again, you get to that end of the year, you can hedge. People tend to be like, oh, I've got a ticket, I got to let it ride. Buddy, 250 to 1 is life-changing money. Let's be honest. If you put the right amount down, it could be for me, right? Like I have 250 to 1. I'm going to be
okay. Stop bragging, Mike. Stop bragging. Some of us only got it at 150. I mean, God.
Sorry, 150 is life-changing.
Rubbing it in.
You tell me.
Rubbing it in.
But man, yeah, it's bringing a smile. We want winners and tricky DFS slate. You talked about last week. I feel like I'm digesting this year as a different breed. It's just like you got to learn from each card, right? We've having a lot of chalk bombs. What was 2 weeks ago, that first fight of the night, Luke Fernandez? I'm like, all right, use the wrestling. I think I called a submission. I might have called an exact submission because I was ballsy. The fighters aren't fighting intelligently. And I think it's because the competition's watered down. Do you agree with that statement? They're just getting in off of the Contender Series. They've got maybe 6 wins against 0-12, 12-30, 13-42.
Do we think it's intelligence though, Mike? Or do we think it's more like some of these guys come in and they know the UFC wants a style, right? A certain style. And they want to give them that certain style. And sometimes in the matchups, it's not as good to, or you shouldn't be doing that style of fighting. And they just say, screw it. I'm going to do what, they're looking for and try and move up the ranks that way. Because let's be honest, when you do what a Kevin Vallejos did and you just start starching guys, running through them, that's going to impress the boys at the top, right? That's going to make Dana say, oh shit, like someone gets hurt, call this dude. He'll probably take it on short notice if a title fight or something like that. And you just never know when you can get that call. Who knows what happens? Gene Silva, we're talking about him, number 1 contender. Maybe Gene Silva has to pull out for some reason, and maybe they need Kevin Vallejos to step up and fight someone. So we'll see what happens. I would love if Gene Silva could win the title and then the rematch happens. That would be the best if Gene Silva could win it, and then Kevin Vallejos could not only fight Gene Silva in a rematch to try and get back that L in his record, but also fight for the title and get us. That would be fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. That you laid that out, and I honestly didn't even think of it because Gene had that setback, right? But they are so high. Think about every time they pan to the crowd. It's the fighting nerds. It's Gene Silva. It's the same faces, and they're there because the UFC pays for them.
That's legitimate, though, Mike. Could that happen this year? I think that's a legitimate thing that could happen.
International Fight Week is crucial for any betting futures. When you are looking towards, now we had the White House card. I thought that was going to be a little bit of a change, a little bit different, right? But towards the middle of the year, you can point to International Fight Week. If your fighter is winning the title or holds the title without any damage, what happens? They end up turning around to the New York's card, Madison Square Garden. There's usually 3 title fights. So I know it's silly, but you can kind of see the progression. So there's a world where Gene's not booked. He gets the International Fight Week. Again, steps in late notice. There's a lot of possibility. Now, if we want to, get away from our futures, we're not counting our money. We're just excited. We're very excited. And it's rare that you have 150 to 1 that is very live. So let's pivot it towards the main event here. 2 of the most boring guys, right? Do you think the UFC wants to market Movsar Evloev?
Well, they don't, because Movsar has not been that active, probably for a reason, and the UFC's not pushing him as much as, let's be honest, we've seen them push certain guys. Diego Lopez, right? They love that dude. They push him. They push him when he loses. They push him back up the ranks.
They love Yair.
Yair. So there's certain guys that they're definitely into, and then there's certain guys that turn them off. Movsar style inherently turns them off. Like it's just not a style that they want to see. But at a certain point, you just can't deny the guy anymore. You know what I mean? And you even got the champ saying like, Movsar deserves it, and I want to fight this guy, and this guy deserves. It's like, yeah. So this fight makes sense, and the winner of this fight should get the title, right? Should get the chance at the title, obviously. So it's.
I don't know if it's a guarantee, dude. I really don't know.
Well, I don't know if it's a guarantee either, but it should happen. But you never know.
Yep. And we go from that top level fight, the most elite fight, to the first fight of the night. And what's my favorite thing in the world? We got, I got to say, Wiley in chat, Andy, Chris early on here. Thank you for getting in on a Wednesday afternoon and Ugly Women's MMA.
Talking about elite, by the way.
I was going to call you out when I first came into the chat. Very, very fine. He hates my hair. That's okay. Whatever, man. I wear a hat 99%.
You wear a hat. It don't matter. You wear a hat.
Give me that RPS one. Cough, cough. Ugly Women's MMA. My favorite thing to break down. Luana Carolina still on the roster. Somehow winning fights in the UFC against Melissa Mullins. This is not a fight to get excited at all about, but holy shit, do I think it's going to be fun for fantasy. Minus 130 on DraftKings Sportsbook for Luana Carolina, Melissa Mullins, a plus 110. Home game for Miss Mullins. Perhaps going to have to go in there with her typical grappling game plan. On the feet, I don't know what the hell it's going to look like. The herky-jerky striking from Carolina wins her fights because it keeps opponents away from her. This has a wide range of outcomes. If this is a car crash, Melissa goes in there, says, I could get Luana down, perhaps impose will. This might be looking like a bigger favorite for Mullins' side, and she's priced as a dog. I don't know precisely how you get to Carolina if you're going to play her, because she doesn't really score, but she does have decent striking. It's just not a high pace. That's the problem. I think I like Mullins a little bit here. I'm clawing for dogs. I'm very much clawing for dogs, even though I said I think that there will be some underdogs heating against some of these bigger minus 250 plus type of guys up to minus 400. I think for plus 110 Mullins, and we've seen Luana not be able to get off her back sometimes. Maybe she'll be a little bit more physically imposing. I mean, where does this fight take place, right, JSU? That's the real big question.
Yeah, and it's one of these fights where I do think Melissa Mullins, if she could get Luana down, would obviously have the edge there. But can she? Luana does a good job. You said her style isn't very good for DFS because she wants to keep range, right? She's not a volume striker, but she wants it to stay on the feet. She can defend takedowns too. Maybe spend some time defending them, but she can defend them. So if she can defend the takedowns of Melissa Mullins, which I think she can, this to me feels like a Luana play here from a betting angle. I know the line, what is she, like minus 130?
Minus 130 DK.
Yeah, minus 130 on DraftKings. Melissa Mullins plus 110. I do think that line is correct. I do think Luana should be a slight favorite. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know, because normally when we see fighters with the grappling edge, if it goes down, they're the slight favorite. And this is the other way. So this line is telling me Luana is the bet, and probably a pretty good bet, but she does tend to fight in somewhat close fights because of her style, right? Right, Mike? So maybe there's some fence control, and it's not going to be probably an exciting fight for DFS or an exciting fight to watch, unfortunately. But I do think it could go in a decision route where it's probably a split. It's probably like a split decision. Luana wins, and I think this line is right on board. So for DFS, Melissa would actually be the better play, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you just said the betting side is Carolina,
but the betting side is Luana, and I think Luana is the clear betting side, and I could even see this line go even more. I mean, it's Thursday right now, like Brady McFootball says.
I said it was Wednesday. What? Come
it's
on,
Thursday,
man.
but we still got some time before the fights here. So obviously, early fight start time in London. We couldn't figure out a great time to go early in the morning, so we're just like, let's just do it on Thursday. We'll get it out of the way. It worked for our schedules, but yeah, I do think Luana is the bet here, and I'll probably be low on this fight in general. I'll probably be fading both girls, to be honest.
So a lot of early data points that we have this week. We don't have takedown props. I'd be looking at a plus money play on Mullins takedowns. That would be a path for her early. And I think it would be one of those chain wrestling, get her down, maybe. But Luana really doesn't have great get up, right? So it might just take one. But that's what I'm going to be looking towards from my betting standpoint is takedowns for Mullins. I agree with 100% what you said, right? Mullins DFS 20% owned early in the week here was what I have her expected to be. Luana 10%. That's going to be lower. She'll be single digit. There's just too many options on this slate, and with a lack of offense, I just think it'll be difficult. It really is on Mullins to push the pace here. A home game. I mean, how are you deciding? The fans will be here early. I can almost guarantee they are passionate fans over in England, and they are going to be supporting their own or the regional guys, right? There's a few fights that are a little bit weird where it's regional. It's not necessarily English, but Mullins is going to, every time she throws a punch, they're going to be going nuts. So that's why I don't think you need to touch it from a betting standpoint and or DFS, to be fair. But there's only one play, and it's Mullins for DFS. For me, we move on from one women's fight to another, and it only gets a little bit uglier, I guess, maybe a little bit cleaner. Chanel Dyer versus Ravina Oliveira. Oliveira already in the UFC so far. 2 fights, 2 losses against Miss Dyer, coming in off a loss on the Contender Series. And now, what did they price her as? A minus 485 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. You just let me close my eyes. I probably would be putting money on the other side because of the value. Ravina, again, fits the generalist mode, does she not?
Yep.
Dyer, superior striking. This thing is on the feet. It's a crisp, clean 30 to 27 or even a finish, right? I think she is going to have a huge advantage on the feet. It's on Oliveira to mix this thing up. I see a tiny bit of money coming buyback after it got out of hand. A little bit of buybacks coming in on Ravina. You got any faith in some lower level underdog action?
This is one of those, type of things where we saw Chanel in the Contender Series lose, but Dana White actually got off of his ass, walked into the octagon to shake and tell both girls how amazing of a fight it was after that loss that Chanel took, where she did lose. It was very clear she lost the fight. She got dropped like 3 different times in that fight, which you don't see a lot in women's fights. I will say Foro was a pretty good fighter that she fought. She looked pretty good to me. I thought her game plan was really good. And she executed it pretty great, but it was a great fight from a viewer standpoint. And Dana was so impressed that he got up and he actually handed both girls a contract on the mic after. He's like, I want to have, like, he said the other girl, like, welcome to the UFC. And he's like, actually, I want to have Chanel too. She's at the hospital right now, but welcome to the UFC as well, or something like that. So he took both girls because of how much he liked the fight. And I can see why. Chanel has she's a striker. She will throw. She will take shots. Her striking defense is not very good. Obviously, if you watch that Contender Series fight, you'll see that very clearly. But she will try and be a dog and fight for your money, which is good to see. I do see holes though where Oliveira could exploit her. I do think she's going to try and get her down to the mat. That's her definite path. And I haven't really seen Chanel fight someone like that who's really trying to get her down. She does have that kind of like bouncy style when she's striking, maybe tough to catch, but she will like also come into the pocket. She throws kicks, pretty straight punches, solid on the feet. But I do think on the ground, Oliveira should have the advantage there if she can get her down. So I think this is a clear like dog or pass betting situation. Like you can't bet Chanel at minus 450 or whatever the hell she is. That's insane. I mean, the girl got knocked down 3 times in one fight. So toughness is great, but I mean, that can only get you so far in the fighting world here. So Oliveira is just not good. The line's more telling you like Oliveira sucks than I think like Chanel is amazing,
Don't steal my thunder. There's a lot of that. There's a lot on this card where there's a fight I will point to, and that's how I will begin to the breakdown of the fight. Like there are some ugly fights. I'm not surprised if many different things happen here, whether it be Ravina getting in there, getting the takedowns. She's got 3 takedowns in 2 takedowns in her first 2 fights. So direct path to scoring for us for fantasy. So you almost have to look at her, even at a big dog, but she opens up a lot for your lineups. Do you know that Dyer went for 11 takedowns against Floro? 11. She got 0. That's not great.
She's going to get 0 again.
Exactly. I don't
think that's going to be her game plan, though.
No. It's stand on the feet, get those fans excited. You're buried down the card for a reason. Women's strawweight, let there be action. But yeah, I don't know how you play Dyer in fantasy. Just survive one round, I think, right? For Oliveira, and it's a bust for Dyer. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and who knows? Oliveira, like I said, she will go for who's to say she can't get the takedowns? I think she's a decent dog play here as a bet in a DFS play. I think if we're looking at all these women's or the 2 women's fights, that this one and the last one that we broke down, I think she's the most interesting of all of them at the end of the day, because I do see a slight path that she could have, even though she's not very good. I think the path is there for her to have a chance at winning this fight. The question is, can she do it for 3 rounds? I don't know if she can finish Dyer. Dyer showed her toughness. Unless she can get like a sub. She doesn't really have a ton of those.
Doesn't it seem like overs on significant strikes? I know we aren't doing a pick 6. We'll try to get one out before lock on Saturday. I feel like the underdog over on significant strikes is a stronger play because they're going to favorite Dyer and really put a big number. They're going to hang something ridiculous because they think she's got such an advantage on the feet. But when it's competitive on the feet, which it should be a little bit, that correlates better with Oliveira. First 2 fights, women's MMA, man, and lower owned fights, right? If you're playing one of these, I mean, Dyer's going to be single digits. It's going to be close to like 5 to like 8%. Like it's not going to be a lot.
She needs an early knockout.
Yep. Oliveira, I'm seeing at 20%. That might be a little ambitious with 14 fights on the slate, but I do think that that's an interesting ownership for this slate. I talked about how am I going to break down a fight that's ugly. This is the one, man. This is the one where I say it's so ugly that I'm just play Shamrock. Why am I playing Shamrock? He's not great, but I think it's the opponent. I think they're just not good. We got a low-level fight here. Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi versus Shamrock. Minus 125 at the moment for Al-Sawadi. Rock plus 105. It's not fair to me to be like, oh, these buys both suck, so I got to take the dog. But it's not going to be pretty on the feet. I think the pace is going to be interesting. This is one of the fights that I think could be crucial to the slate when it finishes, and that's why I'm interested. Ownership-wise, early in the week here, I think it's going to be an important one, right? 25% of the field on Shamrock, Al-Sawadi being 17%. That's showing the same thing I'm saying. Action. I need these fights to have constant action going forward. And you know what Shamrock did against EVLOEV? He showed a wrinkle. He got a takedown. I think there's multiple tools for Shamrock in this fight. I think people are selling him, and rightfully so. He's not the best fighter in the world, but it's a home game. It's Al-Sawadi, who I believe comes off of a awful third round finish from Lok Radzhabov, who again he goes for takedowns. Is George Hardwick on the Contender Series? I'm pulling it up now against Al-Sawadi. Is he related to my boy Henry?
I don't know, but your boy Henry showed the toughness shit. I'll give you credit for that, even though he lost. I mean, dude broke his jaw fighting for your money. So I don't know what else you want from a dog other than a win, obviously.
Promised another fight. They said, you're in the hospital bed. Sign him up. We got one more fight.
He deserves another fight after that. He deserves two more fights after that, honestly. He gave.
At the end of the day, what did I say? I think this fight is an optimal fight. And it most certainly was. Rahiki just kept the pace and
yeah,
really
Rahiki was good, man. I mean, they both were good. They both have their moments where they gave, but it was a good call by you because he was a good dog play, even though he lost. Those are the dogs. When you get like a plus 300-400 dog that fights like that for your money, win or lose, it's not a terrible play.
Had the back. He had the back when they were dry. I was like, ooh. But let's just pivot from there. Rahiki, before I pivot, I guess, is one of the most green prospects I've ever seen. If he can get that chin, get some defense, buddy, don't use offense as a defense.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think so.
Just protect yourself. So at least he knows he's going to be a fun fighter. Maybe he's cognizant that he's not going to be a title contender. Go out there and get those bonus checks. That's fine for us. Shamrock and Abdul, if they end up kickboxing 3 rounds, there's nothing here to be had. I think we can agree with that.
If they end up kickboxing for 3 rounds, Shamrock is screwed.
Yeah. That's why it's mix it up, make it ugly, get in there, get in the clinch, which is sneaky scoring. We've seen it this year. If you're getting in the clinch against the cage, I think it was Anders' fight.
Yep.
Horrible fight to watch. But he had these sneaky against the cage against Brad, and he's going like this. Well, he's a southpaw, so he's just. But these are the little things that add up and compound your scoring for fantasy. That's called hidden scoring. People don't look at these things. This is a fun fight, and if it plays out in the clinch, there's hidden scoring.
Yeah, I mean, also Wadi, I definitely think he's the better fighter on the feet. Now he has been finished 4 times. On the feet. So he's aggressive though, man. So I can see how his style kind of leads him to some of these things. He will be aggressive. I do think that it would be smart for him maybe not to go for takedowns because Shamrock is a very good grappler. That's where he wants these fights to go, is the grappling. So whether it's him getting a takedown or Al-Sawadi getting a takedown, Shamrock is tough to deal with on the ground. And, I think if Al-Sawadi is smart, he would want to make it a fight that stays on the feet for 15 minutes. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think one of these guys is going to initiate. The other one's going to totally accept, the grappling or the wrestling, and it's going to go from there. And honestly, it's probably an under. I don't know what the significant strikes are going to be for some of these things, but it's probably going to be an under in significant strikes. And I could see a finish for whoever kind of wins the grappling exchanges. I lean Shamrock. I think he is slightly the better grappler. I do think this plays out more on the ground than on the feet. So that would be my pick, but it's not something that I feel, 100% about like slamming Shamrock, my bets or anything like that. This is a much closer fight because, like I said, if it plays out on the feet, I think it's Al-Sawadi all day. I just think it's going to end up playing out more on the ground. So I lean the Shamrock side, but I do like this fight for fantasy. I think this fight could finish fairly quickly.
Yeah, I was very surprised. DraftKings Sportsbook, about a plus 100. Fight does not go to a decision. Seems like a very nice play on this slate. And you and I agreeing that Shamrock has more tools when it comes to the mat, etc. Plus 225 DraftKings Sportsbook inside the distance, favored over the plus 350. One of my credos. You've got to look towards those guys that have the equity to get the finish. Plus 225 is showing that's his path. That correlates to high scoring and underdog. It's not a huge salary relief, right? I know we can do whatever we want, But these middle range, like 82, 8K type of guys have been crucial to slates lately. And when they're hitting 105 points, they're absolutely optimal. And that's why I like Shamrock here. I guess if you're playing El Sawadi, that's quite a bit of leverage. Early in the week here, I'm seeing him be approximately 17, so say 15 to 20% owned. Shamrock being higher, 25 to 30. I don't think he's going to reach 30.
And I think it's a fight where you can take both sides of for sure. So honestly, if Al Sawadi's leverage and you can get over on both these guys, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I was very surprised that Shamrock is the older of the two guys. I don't know why. I mean, he's coming to the UFC a little bit later in the career, but another fight that has wide range of outcomes. And I think finally we move to another fight that has some very definite range of outcome here. But Brando Persic versus Louis Sutherland. Persic coming in at a -258 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Sutherland a +210. Poor Sutherland. Not really. Just sarcastically saying. Walter Walker is the force that cannot be stopped. He just takes the limb home. He says, "Thank you for the limb, Sutherland. I'm out of here." In the debut. I mean, if you're betting into unknowns on this slate, Sutherland's probably an interesting one at the heavyweight here. Persic, I can't remember if we were on him or not in the against Ellison. I'm pretty sure we were.
And
yeah. And he did the damn thing early too. I mean, there's a path where these two just bite down for 5 minutes and it's going to be electric. That's why I think there's a definite potential outcome. You're looking at a -260 range for Persic. He's inside the distance line is a pretty good point per dollar on this slate. You're looking at a -2, going towards a -200, -175 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Sutherland's got some good hedge equity, or not hedge, leverage equity, +300. If you're playing Sutherland, he gets a finish, man. That's a key thing to the slate. I think Persic's the clean striker. It's just going to be, is Sutherland going to go out there and try to put on a performance? It's funny. I don't think it's the favorite that's going to be dictating it. I think it's on the underdog to push the pace, which will force Persic into scoring.
Yeah, and I will say, like, Louis been in fights that can drag out a little longer. Brando, a lot of his fights have ended, in the first round. I think he only went to one second round where that was his one loss, ironically, in his MMA career. So it was by submission. He got finished, and that was the one time he lost. So I do think the longer this fight goes, it probably does lean Louis. And I don't know how much we want to take from Walter Walker, right? I mean, he's doing this to everybody. So I'm not going to like ding Louis too much for just getting a limb torn off and from Walter Walker, as you would say. But I do think Louis at this price is probably the bet side for me.
That's gross. But
yeah, it is gross. It is gross. But
it's the scatter shot type of card, right?
I mean, Brando at -250. I'm just not gonna do. Like, I'm not doing that. So from that standpoint, dogger pass. I do think though for DFS, I think Louis has the ability to stall this fight, Mike, to where Brando's not scoring what you want here. And I do think you're gonna see him try and wrestle in this fight because obviously Walter Walker, if you're getting in those situations with him, you kind of know what you're getting into. Against someone like Brando, though, Louis is going to have the advantage here. So as long as he can get inside, Brando is a big dude. If he can get inside, I think he has the path to stall out.
I'm very concerned about that. And I wanted to talk up Persic very much.
Talk him up. I want to hear you talk him up. Get in there.
Dude, I don't want to call somebody a juice bag because I would never do that. But holy shit.
Well, Louis on the juice. I mean,
Thank you.
Listen, we know it. It's okay. Louis on the juice. You've seen his back, right? Have you seen his back? It's
incredible. It's bigger than my fucking height. Like
crazy.
The Vanilla Gorilla, great fucking nickname. He can't stall him out. it's not like we have advantages for Persic. If Persic had a 5 to say 10-inch reach advantage, this is him all day. Keep the jab out there, keep the distance. But when Sutherland's crashing the pocket, making it ugly, it stalls this thing out. There's not going to be a lot to be had. Therefore, the dog becomes prevalent. And I think you are sniffing out a potential huge play for fantasy, because a Sutherland 15% is going to kill off 30%. You want that 2-to-1, right? You are skyrocketing up the leaderboard when that leverage play hits. What do you think? Do we think it's a first round equity, or do you think the deeper? Because honestly, I could see a Sutherland second or third. Or
I think it's deeper. I think if Sutherland has his way, you get, if he can get inside and get a hold of him early, take a little sting off those punches, right? Get him into the second round, and hopefully Brando, obviously Louis fought in a few decisions here, so he's probably a little more comfortable the deeper this fight goes, whereas Brando, not as much. And I do think the longer this fight goes, the more it leans Louis here in the spot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm on the dog. I could see Louis getting it done in the second or third round. Who knows? Maybe you get like a crazy Louis by sub at 18-1 or something like that. It'll get a little crazy here.
I mean, why not? If there were to be significant strikes, I might take the Persic Brando under. I think the outlash of 29 in the first is a little bit. I think it comes back to a kickboxing range or stalling out or a one-hitter quitter. He might just look for the one-hitter.
I wonder what Louis takedowns are.
So I'd have to really dig offshore for that one. There's just nothing on Fight Odds right now about it, but he's got to be favored to go for takedowns. I'd imagine.
Gotta be.
If you got plus money on him most takedowns, that would be like a historic find.
I like that. Yeah, if you can find that, you can find that.
Let him be all muscle.
Sometimes it only takes one. Show a little respect to old Nate Diaz here, the old Nate Diaz.
Hey, you booked for a fight, Nate?
Yeah, I am. You heard?
You heard? Is it Mike Perry? Face tattoo, man? What do you think about his face tattoos?
Yep, on Netflix. Check it out.
Hell yeah, buddy. I got to be honest. We got to do something funny. Break it down, because how the hell was Francis Ngannou like minus 300? He's come back down to like minus 500, but talk about long-term parlay pieces. I'm just like, thank you, free money.
Yeah, you're running it up with it's crazy. Did you see the thing someone tweeted out? I don't know what someone tweeted out, like how many days since their last MMA fight, and he went through like the whole Netflix card. It's just insane when you see how many days these guys have gone since their last MMA fight. It's crazy.
It's historic. It's a historic event, regardless.
We'll see if they can, if this thing hits and they can maybe try and do another one or something like that. I saw Joe Rogan talking about it with Dustin. He's like, because they have a ton of money, so they can throw a ton of. Netflix has a crazy amount of money, so they can throw a ton of money at these fighters if they want to do it. Who knows if they want to, though? Or is this more like a one-off where you do it once a year and, it is what it is?
Well, I don't think it'll ever be a substitute for UFC, PFL, Bellator, blah, 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 blah. I think it's going to be the once-a-year type of situation.
Okay, so you think it's going to be a one-off where they get the big names to come do a one-off thing?
Guaranteed something like that, because the name value's there, but we do not want to see.
Well, they would have to build a card off of name value, though. It wouldn't work.
Who wants to fight more than anything? Chuck Liddell, I think, wants to get in there.
Oh my god!
But that's what they're going to end up falling into, and someone behind the scenes got to be like, "Don't put that on." Like,
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Look at this card; it's all name value, pretty much, outside of like one or two.
I feel like you should be getting a Darren Till type of guy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Mike Perry, to me, is just a step behind now. Like he's the bare knuckle guy.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just a lot of people know who Mike Perry is, though. At least,
yeah,
his name is like around. A lot of people know who Mike Perry is.
I can't believe we're breaking down a Netflix card on a 14-fight London.
We're not. We just got
sidetracked. We're just passionate.
I blamed you. I blame you.
Fights. That's fine. I'm fine with that. You want to break down a poker player, a guy that wins sit and goes. Good transition from our old days of playing poker into Antonio Tricoli, the poker player, as a big underdog against Mantas Kondratavicius. Nailed that shit. Montes minus 800 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook against the enhancement talent, the poker pro Tricoli, a plus 550. What do you think? Last fight for Tricoli in the UFC. Buddy is spending his, $12K on a main event seat right now before he even fights.
Yeah. I mean, Mantis, first of all, man, you want to talk about a parlay piece? Just take Mantis by finish in under 1.5. You probably get it to like minus 170 or something like that. Like, bang, that's your parlay piece right there.
Minus 165 DraftKings Sportsbook.
It's just this dude. First of all, I like him as a fighter. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he's going to be a fun fighter for the UFC. He moves forward. He throws heavy. He will sometimes, to his detriment, like just decide to wrestle and grapple. Even when he's winning striking exchanges, he will decide all of a sudden, I'm just going to change levels, go to my grappling or whatever. I don't get it all the time, but he does have that in his pocket here. If he wants to go there, I don't see why he would want to even think about it, but you never know the situations, you could get in with Tricoli. So I love Mantis though. He's definitely probably my favorite spend in the 9K range. Just looking at the 9K range, I think there's two clear guys that are 1 and 2, and it'll be interesting to see how you rank them. I think he's one for me though.
Not the highest owned at the moment, 39.89, whatever, if you want to get decimal points.
Yeah.
That other guy is 43% that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I would argue a bigger ceiling based on opponent for Montes. Tricoli is not the Rodolfo Bellato type of guy, right? Rodolfo Bellato has tools. Tricoli,
he's also insanely tough.
Yeah. It's just funny how that matters. And when you're soft and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 straight losses in the UFC by finish, 3, 1 on the Contender Series, mostly within a minute and a half. It's a great setup spot. Great point under. I can't believe it's minus 170. That is like an actual parlay piece, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed. And you rarely give out that like big of a favorite, but it's like that's the path.
I never do, but like I think that's a really good parlay piece. So I was like, screw it.
By the way, do you know that he hit the triple double? Montes 1 knockdown, 5 significant strikes, 1 takedown in that Contender Series in a minute and 6. Can you imagine?
I rewatched it. I knew exactly what he did. So yeah, I actually did know that.
Yeah, I didn't really realize it because I'm like, well, I knew he would have scored well, but a quick win would be even more. So endless ceiling.
He goes for it too. So a quick win is super live. Like for him to finish this fight fast is very live. And Tricoli at this point, I mean, like you said, this is probably the last go around.
Hey, it's a main event entry. I think it's like 12K, 12 to show up, 12 to win the fight. He's just spending that 12K. He said, Camp, I can't. You want 25% of me in the main event, World Series of Poker? But yes, I think an endless ceiling, huge play for fantasy-wise. I love him, and we certainly already gave some plays down below to get up to him, and that's what's important to context of breaking down a slate. We move on to another big favorite here, where I think it's going to be an interesting cog because Mario Pinto, a pretty damn good prospect moving his way up, gets a little bit of a lower competition because of late notice. Felipe Franco Contender Series lost plus 600 underdog in this spot. Like outclassed everywhere. I think Pinto has shown a tenacity now to mix things up. He's got the boxing. He's got somewhat heavy hands. He can do volume striking if he needs it. I'm not saying he's a huge A+ type of prospect. I think the ceiling for him in the UFC is a top 15. in this spot, a switch up of opponents, I'm a little worried that he could just, go a little balls to the wall and gas, but Franco is not very good, and I don't think he's going to be able to last long. Mario trains, I believe, in England as well, so I think that it is a home game for him. He's billed out of, where's he billed out of? It's like not even, it's weird. It's like Morocco or something like that.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember, but it's not like England, but he certainly fights out of England. When I talked about the ownership wise, he is the lower guy of these bigger favorites, 35% owned. So he's not the Condra. He's not the Berneski, right? Because he's the 97. That's why that price is a little bit lower. But if you're going to get exposure to him, I think it's a questionable ceiling. And I think it's going to be how much can Franco take? Because I don't think he can take much.
Yeah. Felipe Franco lost to a was it a substitute gym teacher, part-time gym teacher or something like that? So, and not to frown on gym teachers or anything like that, but this dude came in a massive favorite and got outdogged by Freddie Vidal and subbed in the third round. He pretty much just like gassed out. He had a takedown. He was on top of him in the third round. Mike, all he had to do was just lay there and the fight would have been over. You know what I mean? And nope.
Hey, Sarah.
Some dumb shit. Freddie Vidal gets on top and
Sarah Longo, baby.
Story.
Do you remember Longo? He was going in his face. He's like, "What are you gonna do, Freddie? You're gonna fucking lose this fight, man."
I love how you said it, and it's like exactly how he said it too. 100%. It's just 100% how he said it. But yeah, no, Felipe Franco, I mean, he wants to get takedowns. That's his game. He doesn't really, he's a big dude. Like he's a strong, physically looks good type of guy. He only has 1 loss, 10 wins. So if like he could get Mario down, he could have some success early, but the gas tank is very troubling. A lot of his wins are in the first round. If this fight were to extend, it's going to lean Mario, I think. I don't know if it will. The size, reach might be a thing for Mario. He does use it pretty well. Although I will say, Mario was getting teed off on by Austin Lane in that first fight he had before he found that sick finish. He got dropped. Let's remember this here. Mario Pinto did get dropped by Austin Lane, another guy that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I just want to keep this in mind. Mario Pinto is good. Let's not get too crazy with Mario Pinto being like amazing. I got to see it a little more because the Austin Lane fight to me was a little worrisome. He did recover and find a sick finish though at the end.
We talked about IQ, right? What's the Denise game plan? Blanket game plan, pun intended, right? Go in there, take this guy down. What did he do? He said path of least resistance. That's an intelligent fighter. That's a guy you want to bet behind because he did just get the 3 takedowns. He had the sub attempts and he did what he needed to. But for scoring purposes, that can be a little bit troublesome because then you're not just blowing the load going for it. We'd rather the guy we just talked about before. I think Pinto is going to be significantly lower owned. Would you agree with that? Than 30, 33%? Unless people are just scattershotting Berneski, Montas, Pinto, right? I don't know how you can get to that 9,700. It's too elevated.
Yeah, and Franco is going to 100% try and stall. He's going to try and get a hold of him. And I think this fight, I think you're going to see them against the fence a little bit. Him trying to get him down early. He's probably going to gas out, trying to go for takedowns. And once the takedowns stop working, Mario's probably going to find a finish. But at that point, how much is Mario going to score? Is he going to get it done quick? I don't think so. So, yeah, it makes sense to me that he's the lower owned of these 9K guys, or the top 3 at least 9K guys here. So, yeah, I mean, I think Mario wins, but Franco's style is actually pretty good for DFS if he were to win, because you're going to see takedowns and control and probably an early finish, because if not, we've seen it before. He's going to gas out and, Mario probably will win. So,
Hey, crashing, isn't it funny what happens in fantasy when you crash the pocket, whether to go for takedowns or make it ugly in the pocket and strike, that is correlating to high scoring.
You seen
Pinto,
it striking? He's not striking.
no. He's putting my head on your chest and
Not with Mario. He's not striking. I'll tell you that. Mario, if he strikes, Mario's gonna finish him quick. I'll tell you that.
I honestly somewhat like if they hang a Felipe takedown, which they might, it would be under because I think Pinto can stop the takedown, get his own offense going. That would be my way to kind of break it down from a betting standpoint. But man, what are we supposed to do? Minus 800, minus 900.
I'm going to probably bet Franco to get a takedown and then Mario to finish him in the same round or something like that.
Oh, that's same game parlay. Woo.
Yeah, I'm going to bet something like same game parlay like that right there. That's another parlay piece right there. Franco for a takedown and then Mario to finish his ass.
Yeah.
Real fast.
And
Thursday I think throws us all for a loop here. So that's why you get the notifications here. That's why you subscribe to the channel. But yeah, Thursday at 1 is weird. We just couldn't find a better time on Friday and today. So we were just like, screw it. We'll just record it early and then get it out there for people to rewatch that. The early fight cards definitely suck for sure. On top of it, my wife's baby shower is on Saturday. So it's busy day.
Absolutely, man. What's a busy day is finally Luisina Keita making a debut in the UFC. Misses weight, but they say, you miss weight, you get the Nathaniel Wood treatment, baby. They say, no way you're getting a decent type of spot after getting the canceled fight, because Nathaniel Wood is set back prospect after prospect. Jose Delgado, I guess that age is pretty okay. I mean, whatever.
Okay, time out.
He didn't win. Didn't
Nathaniel win that fight? Because I rewatched that fight just about 2 hours ago, and in my head watching the fight, I said to myself before I started, I said, what I can recollect, I feel like Nathaniel won the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Then I rewatched the fight and I was like, man, what was I thinking? He definitely didn't win that fight. How did he win that fight? So what was it? Close, kind of, but I felt rewatching it that I was way off, thinking
damage was a damage, Delgado damage win, and then it was the control time from
and
Nathaniel
the significant
Wood.
Strikes too. I think he had a massive edge at the end of the day in significant strikes. I could be wrong.
I'll pull it up. I mean, Keita coming into the UFC had a lot of hype outside with hardcores. Hardcore fans know that he was a champion from a good promotion, right? And he's talented, heavy-handed. He's a firm favorite because look at this. So I always pull up, my fight odds .io or whatever, and I look here. I mean, he closes. What do you think his average closing line is? Minus 250, minus 333, minus 650, minus 1100, minus 550. Of course, he's closing because it's a lower type of competition. He's winning all these fights, but it really shows an A-type plus prospect. And, Nathaniel Wood can fight to a split decision with virtually anybody. And I do like the money going towards Keita here. Like, since opener, it's been nothing but Keita money. It's minus 110. The books flipped a coin and said, you set the line, and the market has said Keita is the side. I worry from a fantasy standpoint, a decision will not score well. But holy shit, Keita's inside the distance line on this slate. I really like plus 120 on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a guy that goes in there to get the job done. He's going to be a fun fighter in the UFC. Thoughts on Woods bringing the upset? I mean, it's a home game for him.
Yes, it's definitely a home game here for Wood. Wood's going to be pumped. And honestly, this is a great fight, to be honest with you. Keita is a fun fighter. He throws that heavy fucking shit, though, man. He throws with bad intentions. When this dude, like, I feel like everything when I watch him fight, like, everything he throws is heavy. He's, like, putting his all into almost every punch. And he's very creative with it, too. He'll even throw, like, the jabs to the body where I'll just step right in and lean in on. It's just, everything feels really powerful. And he walks people down. He moves forward, which again is going to create some fun, encounters with guys like Nathaniel Wood. We've seen Wood get dropped. Keita in his last fight got dropped at one point, and it's just like these guys are tough. They're durable. Mike, that's the one thing that scares me for DFS is the durability. But man, Keita definitely has the power, and Nathaniel is gonna get into like that boxing range. So he's gonna get into Keita's range. Both of them do. They'll take one to throw one. That's kind of Keita, right? Keita, with how hard he throws, he prefers that shit, like, because he just thinks his power is gonna win out. So is Keita's power gonna win out, or is Nathaniel's kind of speed in boxing gonna win out at the end of the day? I think it's a really close call, because I could totally see another war, honestly, another Jose Delgado type fight where at the end of the fight we're saying who won the fight. It looked like this guy won. I think this guy won this round. I think he won this round. This guy had the damage. Keita probably has the bigger moments, Mike, but maybe Wood has got more significant strikes. Maybe he throws in some takedowns, or tries to at least. I've seen guys try and take Keita down. His takedown defense isn't bad at all. It's pretty solid, in my opinion, but you can get him down. So it wouldn't shock me if Wood, especially early, right, try and take the sting off those shots, wrestle him a little bit. Maybe the shots aren't as powerful, but this is going to be a great fight to watch, and I got to have some Nathaniel Wood at these odds. He just seems like a good dog to back at these almost plus 200 odds.
What do you think about him being more of a bet again on this slate than a fantasy play? Because if it's a tactical fight,
he's both. He's 7,500 on DraftKings, and Keita is gonna move forward the entire time. So the fight is gonna be made because both these guys like to move forward. You saw when Nathaniel Wood was having success, he was the guy pressing Jose Delgado in those moments. So like that's what Keita wants to do anyways. I think we're going to see these guys meet in the middle a couple of times. That's why I think you're going to see some knockdowns in this fight. I think both these guys have upside for multiple knockdowns, as crazy as that is to say, because they're both tough.
Yeah, I'm staring right now at the ownership, and it's another 2-1. It is Keita 30%, 15% for Wood at the moment. So it does back up a great leverage play. I guess I just worry if they negate to just kickboxing. I don't think they will. That's a good point. So they're probably going to be forced into scoring. The ownership play is there, opens up a little bit of salary. It's just, your butthole is going to be clenched when he's throwing those hammers.
When he throws those haymakers, I'm definitely going to be clenching hard. But
oh man,
we've seen Wood. He's a tough fucking dude. So, and he's fought some very good fighters. Keita, he's fought a good amount too. But Wood is fought a lot of good fighters, and won some fights, multiple fights as dogs. His last 2 fights as a dog. Right. He is, I think, just a great dog to back here. So at these odds, I got to bet Nathaniel Wood at these odds. Both the last 2 fights were impressive. No matter if I thought he lost, he was way better than I think most people thought he was going to be.
He veteran tests guys. That's essentially what he does. He says, I'm the vet here. I'm the UFC guy who can mix in different takedowns, stay competitive on the feet. So it is important for him. And again, they threw Keita to the wolves in his debut after missing weight. So are you telling me you're laying the wood?
I think I'm laying the wood here. Fresh and Swole says we're early this week. Let's fucking go. Mike says Wood by KO. Don't hate that. Don't hate. I think there's going to be opportunities. Can they close it though? That's going to be the interesting, because I think both guys are going to have opportunities to finish the other. We'll see if they can. Appreciate it on the Kutalaba. By the way, good call. Appreciate you, my man. This could be the dog that you need for sure.
I
think it's going to be a good fight for DFS. It seems like you're a little on the fence with this fight, which
I'm on the fence too early. Yes, I do think that inside the distance line for Cater is like, I'm looking my chops because that's a good price. Something I do, and I don't mind telling people, is I correlate the price tag to the inside the distance. So I don't even look at money line. I'll strictly pick up the inside the distance, piece it into a spreadsheet, see where the inefficiencies are, because that directly correlates to a high score. If it's going to be that type of card, 14 fights, you're looking for ceilings. You are certainly not looking for just win equity on this slate. You're not just looking. You're looking for the decision. You want the Ian Kutalabas of the world. You want the guys that are going to go out there and force action. So 100% agree.
Man, I gotta get a cut every time we do a show. Everyone's liking the cut. Damn, when JSU gets a fresh cut, I know winter's coming. Get the fresh cut more often, Cub. I mean, shit, a lot of people liking the do here.
I like it. It's I don't know, man. I can't do the short here. Is that a 1? What do they call that? Is that a 1 or a 0? Like,
yeah, it's like a 1.5. You know.
Oh, you got to get a little.
It's like a 1.5. You know. So
you got to show that length. I get you, man. The fight I'm gonna need help with. This is the one I'm tagging you in. It's the hot tag. You know, when you're waiting in that WWE match, you got the big moment. They keep holding you back from tagging in. I'm gonna have to tag you in because I can't figure this fight out. It's a Mason Jones fight. I fucking love the guy. He goes out there, he scores you fantasy points, but he's only minus 125 on DraftKings Sportsbook versus Sola Axel. What a weird name. What a weird style. He could spring the upset here. Welsh guy in England, not sure politically if they don't like each other. He has a home type game. Shoot me. It's Australia, New Zealand, same thing. From the region, right? Axel, the French guy. French MMA, not very hot right now. Talk me off of just locking Mason Jones. I fucking love him for fantasy, dude. This guy, pillar to post, will score you points.
Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, you guys know my biases against the French fighters here. That's very well known. Sorry, Axel. This fight is definitely a good DFS fight. Mason Jones, has he ever not been in a good DFS fight? He's just always in good DFS fights, man. He is. Even in his losses, they're good. You know what I mean? Like it's one way or the other, but they're good. And I think it's because of, 1, his style, 2, he's well-rounded, but his defense at times is not very good. So you get the well-rounded scoring of like striking and takedowns and control, and you also get him in a car crash sometimes where he's getting put down or whatever, taken down. So it does make for good fights. I think Axel's a solid fighter. I think Mason Jones is the better fighter, though, at the end of the day. When you can tell me the all-around guy, I take the all-around guy most of the time, and I think Mason Jones all-around is the better fighter. Axel, too, in his last fight, I mean, Reese McKee was trying to dog him for 3 rounds. I mean, Reese McKee, he was bloody. He was banged up, but he was moving forward. First of all, that stoppage, too, was ridiculous, by the way. Herb Dean, you should get dinged for that. That was a terrible stoppage right there. But, Reese McKee, for a lot of that fight, was, walking Axel down. Axel did a good job, but got tagged a few times from Reese McKee. It was Reese McKee. Mason Jones is coming in, I think, with badder intentions than Reese McKee, honestly. But one thing Mason Jones has that he can go to is the wrestling. Reese McKee didn't have that, and he tried it. And honestly, Axel, he didn't like the pressure, and he was trying at times to get it down. So I think if that happens, he's fucked against Mason Jones because Mason Jones has the wrestling. So if Mason Jones gets him in situations that Reese McKee had him in, he'll be able to level change off of it and get him down, I think, to the ground. So I do like Mason Jones here. I think for DFS, though, how don't you like a Mason Jones fight?
Overweight. I'm overweight to hell on this fight. I think this is one of those ones that's 85 to 90% going to be an optimal rate, and it's a car crash. And I kind of talked up Mason because I hope the ownership's there too. Because it's like if he's going to be if he's going to be the higher owned guy, I'm forced to take Axel, and I don't like it. But I could see.
I mean, Mason Jones, we've seen him get hurt too, so it's not like Axel can't hurt him and sit him down. And
how long was he out? He was out of the UFC on his own accord, if I'm not mistaken. And he took some time off. He came back for, was it the Jeremy Stevens fight? It was a 3-year layoff.
I mean, and that fight was a dog fight too. That was another one. That's just like
people play Jeremy Stevens.
Like Mason Jones fights, like it's not like he's impervious to getting tagged or dropped or hurt, right, Mike? Like, so it does make it for a good all-around DFS fight from that standpoint.
Point to the Balaji fight. Balaji had him betted. I think it was minus 1,000 on the live line. Like I remember, it was wild. It was like minus 1,000 stop plus 500 him, and you're like, what just happened? Before it shows up on your TV.
What happened was they got to the ground, and then Mason Jones found a way to recover because he's an absolute savage. Because he took some shots, Mike. Those were some shots he took from Oki.
So we just went from one action fight to this action fight. I rate this higher than the Wood and the Keita.
Definitely, because the wrestling upside in this fight, on top of the danger, is there.
I think playing both of the fights with an ownership game makes for an interesting build, because I think people will go way further down for their dogs, right? Like Axel is right there. Like he's essentially a min-priced favorite. Like he's right there. Wood, like you said, allows you a little bit more salary-wise. I just wonder what a Sola Keita looks like, because if people are going to go towards the Wood and Jones, that's a weird build, right? But I feel like these are the action fights you got to be starting to look at when you're building.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Like if you're looking at these two fights that we just broke down, this fight is definitely the better fight on all sides. But they're honestly both great fights, and honestly, we got a lot of good fights on this card. This is a good card, I think. I think it's gonna be.
To hear how you're going to be attacking it later from fantasy, because there are so many ways. I kind of have a feeling when we went over the first two fights that you're going to be taking that dartboard and just throwing.
There's darts out there. I'm taking some darts on this card, 100%.
You think that you're going to take a dart on the Pink Panther? Or are you going to buy low on Danny Silva? I
gotta close my eyes when I watch him fight. Sometimes I gotta close the hair, and he's got the friggin'.
They should let him fight with the glasses on. Honestly, the Coke bottle glasses, because that would just add to the allure.
I like the glasses a little bit. I could fuck with the glasses.
Blind, so I love it. I love a blind fighter.
Yeah.
But this is a divisive one on Twitter and podcasts you watch.
Oh, I wonder why. You got the dude in the pink uniform with the hair against Danny Silva, like the total opposite.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like the guy that hasn't fought anybody he's a protected type of guy, honestly. Curtis Campbell coming in here, who is what I'm talking about, a protected guy, minus 230 favorite.
You're saying a protected guy? They gave him Danny Silva for his first fight.
Well, outside the UFC building FCC, it's not full contact contender. You're not going to combat cage warriors. You're not going to these premier outside of the organization, right? That's why I say he's a protected guy, and they certainly didn't do it with the UFC. They said, here are your pink shorts, and they said Danny Silva can make a split decision out of anything. Like, he can be competitive on the feet. He fits that generalist mode for me. I do think the X factor is Curtis. If he gets in there towards those hips, make a grappling match, that's going to force Silva into scoring. So another fight, I think a vet test type of situation. I seriously think it is a vet test. It's funny to call Danny Silva a vet test, but it's not like he's 10-5. The guy is 10-2, Danny Silva. So I mean, Kevin Vallejos, let's just X that one out at this stage, right? Like that fight never happened. I'd rate the Josh Kulaba fight a decent one for him. And then everyone points to everyone's favorite fighter, Angel Pachenko, right? What does Angel Pacheco do? He scores you points. What does Danny Silva do? He scores you points, a hell of a lot of points in a competitive fight, but he was a little bit of a punching bag there.
No, let's not put Angel Pacheco and Danny Silva together, please. Come on.
No, but I'm just saying this is an interesting fight. This is to me, a decision type of fight where you've got a prospect that probably needs a finish to really set himself apart, right? In Curtis Campbell, like a finish inside the distance line for Campbell is a plus 225. They don't expect a finish, the sports books. And I think it's very interesting because once you get to a scorecard, Danny Silva will make it interesting. It's like a plus 3.5 round type of play for me on Danny Silva, just blindly, because he makes it competitive.
He does make it competitive, and it's because he's pretty well-rounded. The striking is good. Obviously, the boxing, that's where he wants to be. But he does have some wrestling as well and grappling for sure. Obviously, I think Curtis Campbell, you lean him in those situations, but I feel very comfortable saying Danny Silva can stay safe if he gets in those situations here with Curtis Campbell. Remember, Curtis Campbell is 23 years old. Danny Silva, it is weird calling him a vet because I'm like, Danny Silva's only 29. Kind of is, but it's more just a test in general. This is a great test for Curtis Campbell because they gave him someone that is not a slouch on the ground and is definitely the better striker on the feet, at least boxer for sure. Danny Silva has that edge. And if Curtis Campbell, if those takedowns or grappling start to stop in this fight, he's going to be in trouble on the feet because Danny Silva is going to move forward. He is a tough dude, and he's going to throw, and he's going to put it on this kid who I don't think has had this type of test yet of Danny Silva on the feet, and he'll be in some trouble, I think. So it's interesting for DFS. Curtis Campbell's style is amazing for DFS. So that's the interesting part to me in this fight is I have to look at it from two different lenses because I think Danny Silva has the ability to win this fight. I'm betting Danny Silva at these odds. I'm betting Danny Silva because this kid is kind of untested. He's 23 years old, and I definitely think the edge on the feet is just as wide as maybe the edge on the ground and maybe wider. I honestly, I don't know. So Danny Silva to me definitely seems like the bet. The question is more from DFS. If Curtis Campbell can keep the takedowns rolling for 3 rounds, Mike, that's going to score really well. I don't think it will, but what do you think from DFS? Because I'm at like a dilemma here because I'm betting Danny Silva. I think the takedowns won't be there for all 3 rounds, but if they are, he's going to score a fuck ton.
Yeah, boy. And this is my low-owned favorite play of the day. 10% to 15% owned for Campbell. He is one of those guys that you rarely see a favorite in an action spot be so low-owned. Silva will be higher owned. I think he's going to be 20 to 25%. And that leverage alone, when you're building lineups, we were just talking about those last 2 fights being action fights. Hell, we're 3 fights in a row here that are really, really high tempo. And it's due to in this spot, Campbell pushing that grappling. We don't necessarily know what it will look like down the stretch. What is his path, though? Close that distance, get a hold of him, hold him in the clinch, even stall it out. But that would probably be a strong first round, right? If he's trying to stall it out, it correlates to high scoring. It correlates to a little pitter-patter. I somewhat like this fight to end by knockout. I know that it would probably be Campbell trying to fish for a submission. Silva's sneaky, good defense on the mat. I think a knockout overall is going to be a better number out there. I'll try to claw it out, but
are you saying just the fight to end via knockout?
Yes, correct.
Plus 200 on DraftKings,
and it's not good enough for me. It's funny how you say something and then you're imagining it being plus 350, plus 400, right?
I mean, decision is minus 145.
It's because Silva is durable enough to make it there, but
correct.
This is a car crash, and I do like Silva. Are you a little surprised with the early ownership on Campbell being 10% to Silva's 20%? Or do you think there's people are seeing the same thing we are?
I think people are seeing the same thing, which is Danny Silva is durable, and
you can't ignore the scoring ability. Fantasy-wise, we've been in this game too long to ignore a Mason Jones, to ignore a Curtis Campbell.
Yeah, and if Curtis Campbell is winning, the style is going to score very well, I think, on DraftKings. Just with, what I know he's going to have to do to win. Because I don't think he's winning if this fight plays out for even 10 minutes on the feet, Mike, or 12. I don't think he's winning that fight. If he only gets like a couple takedowns and 3 minutes of control time, Mike, I don't think he's winning. I think he needs more, a lot more.
Like the Pink Panther?
Yes, the Pink Panther.
Just don't do the sly moves. Just get in and get in the action because
that he will do. I trust that. I think both these guys. I think it could force a finish here. The way this fight could go. The way I think this fight could go. So.
Yeah, man. I really love these last 3 fights. So it's going to be about how you build your lineups. And unfortunately for me, I'm going to take the guy that's half the ownership as a favorite with the better inside the distance line. That's just the way that I play. And if you've got a play in this next fight, I will be a little bit surprised, I think, because you have CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Roman Dolidze. Christian, a firm minus 440 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Roman come back a plus 340. Old man Roman, kickbox, 3-round decision. For CLD, he's going to be faster. I think CLD. I think it's going to be a crisp, clean 30-27 type of situation. Is it on Roman to go for takedowns? He's never been that guy that goes in there offensively wrestling. He is a great jiu-jitsu player. He just never gets it to the mat.
Yeah, this is a tough fight here. For DFS, 9,300 CLD seems tough. I mean, let's be honest, Roman. I don't love Rowan. I don't love, the fights and stuff like that he puts on, but he has shown that he's pretty durable, and these are against some very good fighters. You know what I mean? So you go up against CLD, who is very athletic. He's talented. He's got all the talent, right? CLD has all the talent in the world. But I think we got to trust Roman is tough enough to just not get a big score on him. You know what I mean? Even in a loss, like you said, CLD is 9,300. He's got to outscore Iwu. He's got to outscore, who's the other 9K guy that we liked? Montas.
Yeah.
Here. So
main event or co-main event guys right under him.
Right. So he's got to outscore a lot of, good fighters here at 9,300. So I'm probably just going to be under on this fight in general. I don't even really like Roman, and I should like play a sliver of him in DFS just because I'm probably going to be really low on CLD or fade CLD. So I probably should play his opponent, but I just don't think he's going to score even in a win. I don't think he's going to score.
The full fade on this fight is in play. Roman's just older now. He's got to be technical on the feet, and he's going to get out technically by the faster guy, the faster, younger guy that's going to be.
So are you going CLD decision? Is that
CLD decision.
It's the same odds on DraftKings for knockout and decision. They're both plus 130.
Yeah, I mean, distance, what is it overall? Distance line is plus 100, right? Just fight to go to a decision is plus 100.
Plus 100, and so is KO. Yeah.
I'm
with you. I think I like the decision too.
Sweet, man. I like that very much because I was a little worried that it would just be a little concerning when it came to going back and forth. I think this is a fade type of spot. And if you get beat by CLD, that's the play because he does have flashy striking, right? Dolidze past that 40. I think he's old. He's an old man. But
again, he's still got to outscore a couple really good 9K plays, I think.
Well, that's why I'm saying if you're trying to get crafty, if you're trying to get really crafty and building your lineups, you're playing a guy that is going to be like 20% compared to all these 30% guys. And at that ownership, you really can't do it. So move to the other big favorite on the slate that I actually can't wait to go over. It's everyone's favorite new fighter, Iwu Baraneski versus Austin Lane. We have Baraneski coming in off of that awesome first round, quick, just banger of a fight for him against Iwu versus Ibu. minus 575 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Austin Lane making the trip down to light heavyweight at plus 425. Can he make weight? I think that's a question mark. I haven't talked about the scales yet. There was another fight I was going to talk about. Which one was I saying? Look at the scales. I'll pick it up in a few. But if Austin, there's a world where this fight doesn't take place. I mean, Austin is going to get sucked out dry trying to make this weight. He's so huge. He was a heavyweight. He was a true heavyweight, right? Like football star, chinny guy, having to cut weight. The power will translate. I think the line is because we have a prospect that hits like a goddamn brick house and Iwu. But I think he's sneakily, dude, this guy has judo in his back pocket. People don't talk about his judo. So, like, he can hip toss you down to the ground. It's not like there's more pass. I think he's a great potential scorer against a very chinny guy. Talk me out of taking shots on Austin Lane.
I mean,
you gotta if you're playing this game, punchy kicky, Austin Lane's gonna have so much size on this guy.
Well, yeah, and we've seen Iwu get hurt. I mean, listen, we know how the fight ended, but watch the 2-minute exchange of that Iwu fight. It's insane. It's one of the most insane fights you'll see. So could Austin Lane, who's a massive dude, just find a shot as this dude's running forward and puts him down? I mean, I don't think it's crazy, but Austin Lane is so bad. He's so bad. I did say, though, he did drop Mario Pinto, who everyone likes. Everyone likes Mario Pinto. And, he did drop him. So I don't think it's crazy at all. Like, okay, if I'm pulling up, let's look at these price tags here. So if I'm pulling up the price tags of all the 6K or really cheap plays, right? Franco, Tricoli, Lane, Oliveira, Dolitze. Who's got like the most upside to you?
Kant, whatever his name is, Montes.
No, the 6K range. All the
6K. 6K, who has the most upside? I know you're trying to bait me in here, man, but I'm taking Austin Lane.
There you go. There you go.
What do you think the ownership is? I think it's closer to 5 than it is to 10.
Yeah, and I want to be 10%, 15%.
The Harry Hardwick play of the day. No, he's even lower. By the stats, Austin Lane is a better play than what Harry Hardwick was when I was touting him last week.
But don't be fooled, though. This is a fight that is totally set up for Iwu to have a spectacular knockout. So don't be fooled from that standpoint. They want a absolute knockout. I'm just saying, this dude's defense is his offense pretty much. So anything can happen in those style of fights here, pretty much. But
I like when
great fight for DFS. Just jam this friggin' fight. Jam this fight. Man,
imagine if Austin had
it's hard to like between Iwu and what's the other 9K guy? Montes.
Yeah.
Montes. Man, that's hard to pick between.
I just think it's Montes against a guy they're both first round finished. Damn it. They're both first round guys.
Montes, I feel more comfortable about like him just 100% rolling this dude. Like, I don't worry about Tricoli at all.
You're thinking resistance. So
yeah.
Lane with that size, I played this out a couple times in my head where it's the size. He's a little concerned to jump all the way in, Iwu.
Correct.
And then it stalls that, and initial.
That's why I think if Iwu gets hurt in this fight, it's when he crashes in, right? It's that initial crash. Because once they start swinging, I trust Iwu. When they start getting in the pocket and they start just going crazy, which is going to happen probably, I totally trust Iwu. But it's that first initial crash.
Yeah. Austin Lane, very, very, very chinny. If he had a chin and he was coming down here, man, I think it would be a tighter line for sure. But we know what the UFC is trying to do. It's just that slight where if you're playing an Austin Lane, boy, could he absolutely upset the apple cart. That's when I said there are multiple minus 300 favorites. I think one of them has a legit shot of losing. That's why. It's path of victory. It's pretty strong for Austin Lane. Let's move on to, I think, another fight that's like, I shake my head. There's been so much money coming in on Sam Patterson throughout the week, throughout the opener. I'm like, Okay, is Michael Page shot? What the fuck's going on here? Like something's gonna give. Near minus 200 favorite for Michael Page on DraftKings Sportsbook, minus 192. Sam Patterson a plus 160. I guess it's a binary fight. People are just saying Sam's gonna go in there looking for takedowns. This guy just stays on the straight line. His head is right there for the taking. Like I could see Michael Page dance in, dance out, catch him with some flying shit, over. I could see Sam go in for takedowns, stall out and Page in that first round. Page then come back and land again and get him out of there. I don't necessarily trust Patterson's chin over 3 rounds. And I certainly don't trust Michael Page to score me points. It's a weird fight contextually, right? Like wide range of outcomes. The grappler is the underdog, perhaps grappler, right? Like he's got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Michael Page known to get controlled on the mat. Fun fight if it takes place on the feet, because I think Page could be flashy. He could do his crazy shit.
And I think these guys have trained together, right? These guys, they have trained together, which is another interesting wrinkle here. So I'm sure they're very familiar with each other and the styles. And yeah, I think it is kind of binary in a way. Sam Patterson should be looking to get this fight down because, like you said, if this fight stays up, I think Page finds a big shot at some point that connects with the chin here. But from a DFS side, I think I'm dog or pass. I do think Sam has a chance. As Mike just vanished for a sec, I do think Sam has a chance if he gets this down because Sam is an aggressive grappler. You know what I mean? He's an aggressive, advanced style grappler here that could give Michael some issues if he gets him down here. So yeah, I think plus 450 by submission is an interesting toss on Sam. But if this fight stays on the feet for a decent amount of time, I think Page finds a knockout. Still probably won't score you that well in DFS because the volume.
The biggest concern. And it's funny because you think you'd be drawn into a fight like this on this slate. At least I do. But there's so many good fights. Like I'm on a Mason Jones fight over this. And I feel like it's just a tier below because Mike doesn't have huge volume. He doesn't have the button that says go for it. He will just do these, dancing moves, which doesn't score you points in the flashing. He's 40 now, right? It's like now or never. You got to make the statement here. I just don't know. Patterson's chin is so suspect to me.
Yeah, and you look at who they fought, and you're like, damn, look at who these guys have fought. But I do think Patterson will have the edge if this thing goes to the ground. So that's the one good thing for him. So he does have a path. Mike is more my shot. So as long as they have a path, I don't mind taking shots on someone like that. But I agree with you. Like these other fights you're talking about, like Mason Jones fight, much better fights.
Can I talk about ownership? Because I love that.
Go for it.
It's another situation where I'm going to be forced to take shots on a guy like Michael Page. He's fitting that mold of a low-owned favorite with a direct path to scoring. And his inside the distance line is sneaky very good on this slate. So plus 175 on DraftKings Sportsbook, the best line out there. Should probably hop on that if you like. Over at DraftKings Sportsbook for him to win inside the distance, probably by knockout. I wouldn't even touch the submission degree, but Patterson is plus 250. So that's good leverage. But you look around and at 10% ownership, he's with Keita. Like I think I'm going to be building Keita Page type of lineups because that's 20% ownership between two guys, potentially, say 25%. And then I can kind of go towards the chalky underdogs. And that's okay because then I can mix and match, but I'm getting so much on the field. People are going to play Wood. They're going to play the guys like Sam Patterson. So when those favorites are killing them off with 100-point upside, which we know is very apparent, they're both plus 150 range inside the distance, Keita and Page. Those are the types of builds that I'm going to be gravitating towards. So I'm forced to a guy like Page. I don't love it, but I hope it makes sense from a tournament aspect, right? I'm doubling the field every time Page wins and Keita wins.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm not going to play Page, but I get it. I'd rather Keita But I totally get what you're saying. You start your build there, and you're immediately unique.
Correct. And that's why I don't have to overthink trying to get the perfect dogs. I can then scatter shot the dogs. This is a slate where you take all those, what do you say, 3 or 4 favorites up above 9,500, right? And you just go start throwing darts. You need to be perfect, right? You need to be perfect up there, where this middle range I love inherently. I always love the middle range. I just feel like 105 points, 110 points, a very interesting play. So Page, definitely a guy I like, but I don't love. That's how that breakdown goes. We move on to the co-main event of the evening. Already here, Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell. We have Luke coming in minus 258 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Michael Aswell a plus 210. I'm probably just going to toss it to you right away because I think they want to make Luke a star. He had some adversity in that first fight in the first round. Michael Aswell, I don't look at his last fight. I X that out. Lucas Almeida with that hand injury. That was another weird one, right? There was no money movement, but clearly had a broken hand. I look at Aswell as a 50-50 fighter, don't you? And I think when that happens against a flashy striker who should outstrike him on the feet, it's really reliant on Aswell going for takedowns and stalling the hometown guy out.
Yeah, it's honestly one of those fights where Michael is like, does he have takedowns? Yes. Can he do it? Yes. But that's not really his style, right? So Michael's style, it fits like what Luke wants. Luke does not want to fight guys that are just relentless wrestlers because he's shown that he can be taken down and controlled. He's getting better. He's working on it. Obviously, if you watch the Bogdan fight, you're going to see a tale of two different rounds, right? The first round, not great. And he made him work though, but not great, got controlled. Second round, figured it out and ended up finishing him. And I don't know. I think that's what happens though, because I think this dude is just so dangerous on the feet, and Michael Aswell can get hit. He can get hit. Honestly, if you watch some of his fights, he's known for being just ultra tough, but at a certain point, toughness only gets you so far, and I think this was a perfect setup match by the UFC. It's a perfect setup match for the card, like co-main event. This fight, I think, is going to be a banger. I think you're going to see blood, and I think, if it extends, I think you're going to see a lot of damage, and if it doesn't extend, I think you're seeing a flashy, KO. So, yeah, it's great, setup fight here before the next fight that we'll get to. And I think it's Luke all day in on the feet. Honestly, Michael is a tough dude though, but yeah, I think Luke is the better, obviously, striker on the feet. So give me Luke as a pick. I think he gets the finish too. So give me Luke by finish. But the question is for DFS, does Luke score enough at that price tag? I'm going to say no. You're not getting takedowns. You're not getting control. It's gonna be a bunch of strikes, and I think Mike is tough enough to at least last the first round and get to that second round.
Luke fits that mold that I was talking about when it comes to Page. Keita has the ownership, so it's the Page 10%, it's the Campbell 10%, it's the Riley 10%, right? These are the guys that are just a notch below because, you and I love Campbell as a scoring asset, so he's very clearly one. But when it's like Michael Page versus Luke Riley, same ownership, obviously Page being a little bit lower, I think you, after talking Luke, should be going him because I think he becomes a stronger play, right? Like it's not necessarily I'm saying he's going to score well. It's just that 10% owned on this slate is just great. You're not getting leverage though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Page is the leverage. See how the brain works? It works through it. Bing, bing, boom.
And it's like you look at, first of all, Luke Riley at plus 200 inside the distance, I think is a pretty good bet. That's interesting to me. I know they probably respect Michael as well, but man, that's a juicy number right there. I thought it was going to be a little lower than that.
Yeah, I also thought it would be towards that Michael Page 150.
What's second, third round finish here? We got to find the rounds here.
Straight up second round, I've got it for you. Plus 275 DraftKings Sportsbook, plus 1,000 round 3. That don't have by knockout.
I got round 2, Luke Riley at plus 700.
There you go. Yeah, right. What they have 750.
Yep.
If you want to add knockout, which is very simple, that would be the way to go.
Yeah, 750 and 1,000 if you have the knockout. So, yeah, I think it's second or third. I like it.
Do we like the main event? Is this going to be our McBectic oral buy play of the day? Holy shit, did we learn a lot, because the Matt returns is a beautiful thing for fantasy. And when a guy that I think has suspect takedown defense, and Leron Murphy could be the biggest key to this slate. Movsar or EVLOEV minus 250 DraftKings Sportsbook. Leron Murphy plus 205. Can he stop takedowns? Probably not the initial burst. Can he outstrike him on the feet? Absolutely. Leron Murphy is not going to be a great fantasy play because he's going to be stalled out, and he's probably going to be a deeper finish if you were to get it. Second, third, fourth, for sure, because it's just that first initial burst he can't stop. A decision I don't even necessarily think is going to be well for him. EVLOEV has the biggest ceiling on the slate because he's got 5 rounds to work with. He's got the path of victory. He's an extremely strong play. And then we talked about that range way above him, right? That we love even more. I think it's just comes down to lineup builds. I have him at 45 to 50% owned, EVLOEV at the moment. Murphy, I have him at 40%. I'm a little bit surprised the field is playing this fight 80%. I think that might be a little too much for this fight. It's a wild thing to say because ideally, if you are fading this fight, JSU, you want a third round finish for either guy, I guess. Like a third, literally, I think either guy, third round finish may be a fadeable fight. But outside of that, I think there's too many takedowns for a decision. It's funny how close of a thing it is, right? Because EVLOEV is the strongest play when it goes to a decision. You're just looking at exact outcomes, and I think it's horrifying to fade EVLOEV.
Yeah, 40% for Leron Murphy is interesting. I don't like that at all. This fight is minus 250. Like, I feel like it should be wider than that. Like, I feel like Movsar should be a bigger favorite than that. Kind of a, in my opinion, disrespectful line to Movsar.
Want me to roll off his last favorites? Minus 250 Aljo, minus 200 against Allen. Diego, minus 900. That was the late notice one, and he barely closed. So he's minus 430 Ige.
But you can make the case that those fights, or a couple of those, were tougher. Tougher tasks, because Diego, what does Diego have? Diego's sick grappler. He's a sick grappler. Aljo, sick grappler. Those are hard matchups for most. You know what's an easy matchup? When you face a guy that can get slammed down to the ground by Josh Emmett or something like that, picked up over his head and just fucking slammed right down. You think Movsar is not getting this dude down? Is not going to, and second of all, when he gets him down, the control, you don't think that dude is going to be able to control Leron Murphy? I think this is Movsar all day. I don't know if it's going to be the funnest fight to watch. I don't know if people are going to, that's why they put Luke Riley and Michael Aswell as the co-main mics. That's the exciting one. We got a bunch of exciting fights on this card. I think they set this card up literally for the main event, because think about who they put on this card. Iwu and Mason Jones, the Nathaniel Wood and Keita. These are really good fights, Mike. These are good, I think, exciting fights. Montas is an exciting fighter. They put a lot of exciting fighters on this card, and I do not think it wasn't by design for this main event, because I think they know what's coming with this main event.
It's not like EVLOEV is a guy who is getting outstruck. Believe it or not.
EVLOEV is for a grappler. He's a good striker. And by the way, this dude is fit as hell. He is in crazy. I mean, both guys are in crazy shape, but Movsar is like just a different species dude is just absolutely jacked, muscles on muscles for Mozar. And I don't think he's going to get tired. His style, he can do that, I think, for 5 rounds, no problem.
Yeah, I love it, man. I think the biggest thing you and I took away was so much ownership towards Murphy. I think people try to target the 5 rounds underdog thing way too much sometimes. And when it's style of fight, to stall out that scoring.
Now, I got a question for you. 5 rounds, Mozar's fought 3-round fights, obviously.
Yep.
5 rounds. Could we get finally like a late finish?
So I think that is my way to break down the fight. If I'm breaking this thing down, EVLOEV by submission is my way to break it down. It's plus 750, I believe, on DraftKings.
700.
Am I sniffing the same thing you are?
That's exactly what I was looking at. It's almost like you just melt this dude. He's controlling him, and then just eventually makes him
mercy.
Yeah, he makes a mistake. It happens even to the best of fighters. It happens, and you get that extra 2 rounds where you have that chance. I know he's a decision fighter, Mozar, but I think he's gonna be able to get in some really good spots to have chances if he wants to go for it to finish it. And to be honest with you, Mike, I think he needs to go for it because the UFC wants to. He's got to know the UFC wants to see. He knows what they want, right? And finishes are a big thing. I think he's gonna try to be a little more aggressive with Arona if he can easily just get him down, which I think he'll be able to.
Yeah, it's a mercy stoppage, 4th round, a zillion takedowns, a move fighter into, he makes the wrong move, pulls the neck, see you later. It's a rear naked all day. Like it has the writing. Has Murphy gone 5? Why am I drawing a blank?
I think he did against
Emmett. Oh, but that was such a bad fight.
Barboza. I forgot about that fight.
Oh yeah. Oh, he only just destroyed the corpse of poor Edson, but
that fight.
Man, that
fight was wild.
That's rough. That's a shell of a guy and a shell of a guy. Old spirits there that he's taking on. Now he's got a new breed type of guy.
The thing what's also tricky about Mozar is like for the style that he is, like it's not that he's bad at the other thing. He's just so elite in the grappling, but like he's not bad on the feet. He's very good on the feet. So it's tricky. It's tricky for these guys. Obviously, Lerone, that's his best chance is keeping it on the feet, but man, it's tough when you fight guys like Mozar. I feel like he's inevitable is my issue. Like Mozar's, it's the UFC's nightmare, Mike, of he's just inevitable.
It's a lower degree of when they had Ankalaev.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? And it's just that style. At least he could grapple, but he never did because he just bored people to a decision.
And he just forces guys into his style of fights too.
Yeah.
He's just so good at it.
Yep. So we cooked up some big numbers on this show. I'm proud of us, man. We got some big ass numbers. That EVLOEV to top it off with a submission. I don't think you have to get greedy and say even inside the distance. I think you just go straight submission because he's not going to pound him out on the mat. He doesn't.
I'm getting greedy.
Wow. Usually the rules are reversed. I like to take the safe route. You think it?
I know. I'm proud of you. You're coming with me on the greedy train.
Love it, boy. I love it, man. So building lineups. I think this is key of how you're building your lineups. I think the lower risk is going to be a 2-dog lineup. I think your winner is going to be a 3-3 build, unique. And I will tell you exactly how. It's going to be those ones where you have the higher priced fighters, the lower owned. The Campbells of the world are 10%. So if I'm building a lineup, I'm not going to build one on the show. I'm just going to give you an idea of where I would be, right? A Campbell Page is just 20% between those two guys. But how do I, build my lineup from there? I'm going to go up towards the Pintos, the Montes, the Iwus. I already have the ownership I need, right? So when I'm getting 3 dogs, then I can go the quote unquote safer route, right? The 20% owned guys. I don't need to take the shot on the guys that are 10%. If you want to, you can. That'll really make you unique. But you and I nailed Ravina Oliveira being potentially lower owned with a higher type of ceiling. Nobody's going to want to go there. I don't know if it's a bold take. It probably isn't when you really dig in, but people will be surprised by my take that there's a world where you get like close to 50K unique lineup with a 3-3 build, because if all 14 fights stay, right, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I like that take for trying to get unique and builds and stuff like that. I think for me, it's more just about it, looking at the slate. There's so many good fight, or what look like good DFS fights. Trying to get as much as I can of not just the favorites, but also those dogs too that are very live in chances to put up big scores. And then sprinkle in, like we said, the long shots, like a Ravina for just to make your lineup unique, or the Austin Lanes of the world, guys that, no one wants to click on, that are gross. Al Sawadi, I think, even though I'm betting Shamrock, I think he's another guy people won't want to click. I think more people will lean to the Shamrock, and there's upside in his DFS. So,
People sacrifice too much in their lineup sometimes, because the lineup builds I was saying, you don't need to go to lane. If you're taking lane, you're going inherently right away to be unique, I think. I mean,
well, that's why I'm saying you don't have to do anything, anything else outside of just build it out from there, like what you want, because you have lane. So, like you're inherently going to be different. We think he's going to be like 5%. When you're taking a 5%er, that's all you really need to do in MMA. Then just build it out from there.
Sutherland is such a great play by you talking me into him, because he's a leverage play. I think Brando is going to be a bigger favorite because of ownership wise, based on his minus 200 inside the distance. Like, it's correlated. His win equity is essentially his finish equity. When you see that happen, what you're giving up is what happens when it goes to a decision.
Yep.
Therefore, it correlates to the guy we think is the juicy bear that's just going to fucking hold him and rip him to the mat, try to do that. That's an interesting play. It's just funny how dynamic of slate is totally different. It's not like we're taking anybody against Pinto, Monta. You know what I mean? It's not like we're taking crazy plays. It's just how the structure of it really comes down. So, some of the bets we cooked up, man, are awesome. Like, we both like Sutherland, just equity wise, right? Your parlay piece of Montas under 1.5 money line and under 1.5 is minus 170 is value. Literally.
That's value.
Like, rarely would I say that, but it's 100% value. It's a great play. Shamrock is a dog you and I think of both are hitting. I liked Mullins as a little bit of a curveball in that middle range. When I'm making middle range builds, I think she has an unknown ceiling in a finish. So I'm looking for her to get it to the mat.
We both like Mason Jones.
Yeah. Can I also say Mullins by submission is a massive fucking number, by the way. And I feel like you could just pound out poor Carolina, who is not UFC level, but like sub is going to be double digits.
If there were a finish, I think that's how it would finish. But I don't know. I think Luana's durable enough to stay away from that, but we'll see.
I think I said knockout in that fight for Campbell and Silva. I like that play a lot, but the number is not great at plus 200. You said just strictly fight.
That line seems ridiculous. I feel like Danny Silva is going to get bet down at some point.
So how are you? Can we say this topic and then sign off here? How are you handling all these crazy money movements we had? Not back to Isaac, but like people are overreacting now. If there's movement, people have FOMO and they're hitting lines and they're moving things. How are you going to handle this thing moving forward? Because eventually it's going to bite us in the ass.
Yeah,
so far it's been good.
Right now it's been good. If you've been kind of following it, it's been solid. And I think it comes down to like, okay, how egregious is the movement? You know what I mean? Like when it gets so egregious where it's just flying and it's not stopping. Yeah, I'm probably going to follow it at that point, but I don't worry about it. A little bit trickling in, it's steadily moving a little, but when it just skyrockets, you got to take notice.
Yeah, like the Dolber one was one of those situations where in Discord we monitored it. I believe you commented right away. I'm gonna follow the movement. If it burns me, it burns me.
Yeah,
But
and I ended up fading the dude he was fighting and stuff. And it's funny because I liked Michael Johnson in that fight. I thought I picked him as a winner, and then throughout the day, I'm like, oh my God, look at this thing. It just keeps going, and it just didn't stop. I felt like, and I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna get off of Michael Johnson for DFS.
Yeah, and then the next slate here we had the Eric Anders. Eric Anders movement, hindsight, the side. He was stronger in there, better chin, somehow a better chin. It's just wild somehow that these little things I think are getting out. I think it's the social media, dude. I swear to God, it's the influencers of the world. It's these people that are just getting close to camps and finding these information. I know it's a wild thing to say, but I really think it is. Like, how else are these things coming out? They never came out before. Fucking Jared Gordon got hit by a motherfucking car and it didn't get out.
Yeah, it's crazy now. It's just so easy to get information like out nowadays. It's just it's crazy how that works. But fucking Eric Anders, you can't give a hugger that fight. That was bad. I didn't like that decision there. I thought that was a bad decision. But
he also was like way bigger than Brad.
Yeah, but every time they got back to space, he was getting rocked, and then he'd just grab him and just hold them. I hate just when you hold people against the fence. You can't reward that shit.
Oh, what do you mean? Like Asplund's looked like shit, but he arguably,
dude, that's another fight. So I had Steven Asplund. I liked Steven Asplund. If you were to tell me that he was gonna be the gasser, I would have thought you were the craziest fucking person in the world. I couldn't believe, dude. Vitor was asking for him to just finish him, but he had nothing. He didn't have anything in his strikes. Vitor was the one. I couldn't believe it watching that fight. I was like, he should have finished him and didn't.
Last couple things. I promise I'll get you out of here. Bruno Silva closes a minus gajillion. You know how they usually close it as a big favorite at the end, just when they think it's already over. It's like 85,000, right? That's what they usually price it as. And then Michael Johnson is a 20-1 underdog at close. Inherently, I've been doing this long enough. I would have said, in real time, I think in Discord, I said I didn't get it in time because it clicked too quickly. Johnson in a close fight. Obviously, Silva won. I think we could all say that, but there's subjectivity in our sport. There's always going to be subjectivity. And that's what makes this game inherently fun, inherently different than anything else that we do. But Silva was a key cog. If Silva wins that fight, he would have been nearing 90 points, I think, and it would have been important to the context of the slate. And then you get a guy like Andre Touchy-Feely who scores nearly 60 points, I think, in a loss. That's just the state of MMA that we have right now. It's crazy. Then you get Bia getting a quick win on the mat, and it's like, okay, 100 points isn't enough.
Yeah, Bia looked great too. That'll be interesting to
Plus
see what they do with her
1,500 going into that fight. Future ticket, by the way. I had FOMO. I want a big number. I only got 15-1. I'm sorry.
Puss. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Sorry for the early show. Like I said, couldn't figure out a better time. We got an early start to the card on Saturday. I think it starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Most of you probably watch this on rerun. So hit the like button if you're watching later on in the day or the next couple of days here. Smash the like for us. We appreciate it. We'll be back to the normal Saturday 11 a.m. slot next week. So don't worry about that. Time was just changing for this card here. So we'll be back to the normal start time here. Check us out, runpuresports.com for all the core plays, playbook, full MMA breakdown here, and Discord. Get in there. Plus all the other sports we got going, March Madness, NBA, everything here at runpuresports.com. Get in for all the bets and DFS. That's going to do it, though, for this edition of the UFC Fight Night Show over at runpuresports.com. For Mike, I'm John. Good luck in your MMA this weekend in London, and we'll check you guys next week. We're out. Peace.